Induced the gradual surrender of American sovereignty, piece by piece and step by step, to various international organizations, of which the United Nations is the outstanding but far from the only example. Now, here are the aims for the United States. 1. Greatly expanded government spending for every conceivable means of getting rid of ever larger sums of American money as wastefully as possible.
The United States is giving Ukraine an additional $325 million in addition to the $43 billion.
2.
Higher and then much higher taxes. 3. An increasingly unbalanced budget despite the higher taxes.
I want to commend Speaker McCarthy. You know, he and I get along, get things done. We're completely honest with one another, respectful with one another.
4. Wild inflation of our currency.
It's happening right before our eyes. And the Biden government statisticians are telling us that it is so.
5. Government controls of prices, wages, and materials, supposedly to combat inflation.
The only option that leaves our economy in good shape is raising the debt ceiling.
The president and the speaker are the keys to the deal.
It's a plan that I'm happy to call Bidenomics.
6. Greatly increased socialistic controls over every operation of our economy and every activity of our daily lives. 7. Far more centralization of power in Washington and the practical elimination to have our state lines eventually mean no more within the nation than our county lines do now within the states.
At the FBI, we're working closely with our federal, state, and local partners to share information and identify and disrupt any threats. We're also coordinating with social media companies to make sure that their platforms are not used to spread disinformation and propaganda.
8. Control over our educational system. 9. A constant hammering into the American consciousness of the horror of modern warfare.
I should be prosecuted. What happened on January 6th, Senator?
Always on communist terms, of course. And 10, the consequent willingness of the American people to allow the steps of appeasement by our government, which amount to a piecemeal surrender of the rest of the free world and of the United States itself.
Here's a very interesting point to consider. None of these people pushing these policies and destroying our country over the last 70 years actually believed in what they were selling us. They were just doing their part to push an agenda that was specifically designed to put us under complete control of some very evil people. And the crazy part is, not a single person who was a part of implementing that plan initially is even still alive now. This was 70 years ago, and they're still pushing forward. To create a plan that was going to take that long to pull off, they had to have all gone into it knowing they weren't going to be around to reap the reward of their work against humanity. That should make it blatantly obvious to everyone that they're not doing this solely for their own benefit. They're doing this for the benefit of the master they serve, a master who can reap the rewards. All of these people are serving the devil.
A major 6.6 earthquake has struck today, October the 7th, 2025, and scientists have just issued a new mega quake warning. They're saying that a double quake could strike the U.S. Pacific West Coast that they're saying is bringing us into movie territory. Wait till you hear the details of this. Let's take a look at the latest headlines so you can see it for yourself. Coming out 2 hours ago, it's movie territory. Huge Cascadia earthquakes can trigger the San Andreas Fault. Scientists say they're saying the warnings of the big one is not one fault, but they believe multiple faults coming together, triggering each other simultaneously. Let's take a look at some more of the headlines so you can see it. A twin threat. 2 major West Coast earthquake faults may be linked, so one could trigger the other. They are coming. Scientists warn that destructive super shear earthquakes could devastate California. We're going to be getting into all the details of what it was that they had to say. This coming out, as you can see, a lot of these articles just in the past 24 hours. Now, simultaneously, we have seen the Ring of Fire issue a new major earthquake today, October the 7th. Take a look. Magnitude 6.6 earthquake strikes Papua New Guinea's Leh. Panic at stadiums in a ceremony. Strong 6.6 magnitude earthquake strikes northern Papua New Guinea. Now, there have been no immediate reports of damage or casualties, no tsunami warnings. But however, going back to California, take a look at the activity that's been happening. Today, October the 7th, earthquake measuring 2.1 shakes region close to Belden, California. 2.7 magnitude earthquake rumbles near San Jose. Update, earthquake rattles region close to Alum Rock, California, October the 7th, 2.7. And we have been seeing a lot of shaking over in California. Several earthquakes strike near Big Bear overnight, the USGS says this 2 days ago. Also 2 days ago, a 2.5 magnitude earthquake strikes near Linden, Washington. And also, a lot of people are speculating, why is there so much seismic activity? Take a look at these headlines coming out today. Astronomers are sounding the alarm over dangerous space weather. Scientists suspect that smaller tornadoes of solar plasma and magnetic fields may be escaping our detection heading towards Earth. And take a look, solar maximum. More storms from the sun could bring more northern lights, potential power grid, technology disruptions. This coming out today as well. We had heard those warnings that a lot of the tectonic plate movement, the volcanic activity, the earthquakes, the tsunamis could be sparked by solar activity. Now let me know your thoughts. Do you think that's what it is?
I keep hearing all of these warnings about an incoming pole shift, and we keep seeing this map being shared of the devastation and the aftermath and how it's going to reshape the United States. And now suddenly we're getting all these warnings about these massive earthquakes that are about to be caused by dangerous space weather. Considering the plethora of evidence that we've seen in recent years showing that it's actually the government that's causing all these mass earthquakes, I can't help but to wonder if maybe they've got some massive cataclysmic man-made earthquake planned for our near future. And of course this could all be naturally occurring, but in my experience, if the government knows that something bad is coming, they don't give us a heads up about it. They keep that information to themselves. It seems like the only time we actually get a heads up about something bad on the horizon is when the government's actually planning to do something and they're trying to get ahead of the narrative so people don't look into things too closely, trying to give themselves plausible deniability. All of this stuff does have me on high alert though, but regardless of what's really going on here, it looks like that map might be about to become a reality. What do y'all think? Hey! Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to drop your theories and your comments in the comments section down below.
The European Space Agency might have just showed us something they weren't supposed to. Since the US government conveniently shut down just days before the Mars flyby of 3i Atlas and told us they're not going to give us updates on it anymore, the good old ESA released this video just a few days after it flew by Mars, using their ExoMars trace gas orbiter. And just watch what happens when we zoom it in. No video enhancements applied whatsoever. Is anyone else seeing what I'm seeing? Surely this is just a photography lighting glitch, right? And like, where is China in all this? They do have an active orbiter around Mars, the Tianwen-1. Wouldn't this be just like the best opportunity for them to flex on us, showing us the clearest photos of 3i Atlas yet? But no, radio silence from the CNSA, China's National Space Administration. So they either somehow didn't take the photo on time, or they did, saw what it was, and didn't want to show anyone else. And still other online detectives pulled this image from NASA's official Mars Perseverance rover's online public library, dated Seoul 1643, October 4th, 2025, the exact time that 3i Atlas flew by. NASA, of course, hasn't commented on this yet, and some are saying it might just be Mars's moon Phobos caught in motion, which ironically is Greek for fear.
The more we hear about this 3i Atlas, the more obvious it becomes that they're not going to tell us anything about what's really going on. That's supposed to be the most clear image that we've gotten of this thing, and did anyone else notice there's no tail on it like they told us? They also say that they've determined it's made of a specific material, that knowledge allowed them to approximate the weight of the object. But how did they come to that conclusion when it's constantly, violently changing shape and size like it was in that video? With the way that thing's moving in that video clip, it almost reminds me of one of those renderings of a biblically accurate angel, like the one that looks like a gigantic eyeball with all the rings circling around it. But I think it has to be one of three answers. Either they know what it is and they're intentionally misleading us, they don't know what it is and they're trying to give us the impression that they know more than they know, or there isn't anything there at all and it's just a normal comet or something, and these governments just aren't communicating with each other well enough to pull off the lie they're trying to sell. Either way, I think the only thing we can really know for sure is that no matter what's going on, they're not going to give give us a direct answer on any of it.
So nobody is talking about this, and that's because they don't want people to know. Y'all, the IRS just quietly closed its doors, and the only reason why I know about it is because my sister works there, and she called us to let us know that she just worked her last shift. She told me that they were supposed to stay open till around the 15th or until funding got sorted. Remember, Congress is trying to find a way to fund the government right now. But today, after her last shift, click, they locked the doors. So here I am scouring the internet to find some videos for you guys. I can't find one legit videos, no media coverage whatsoever. I just come across this one guy. He's an IRS agent who's helping his client file some taxes, and the surprise on his look when he came up to the building, find out they were closed, y'all, priceless. So something is going on out there that people don't want us to know, y'all. The IRS just shut down.
Good morning. Here's today's update from your Super Agent Logan. I'm down here at the IRS helping out one of my clients that needs some extra paperwork done, and we're having issues getting people on the phone. I know the IRS was open yesterday if you came down in person, but as of today, at 5 a.m. this morning, the IRS is officially closed. So if you have any transactions that you're working with the IRS on, or if you have any personal things you're working with on the IRS, they are closed. So be patient as the government figures out what they're going to do and opens back up.
Now, I don't know what's going on out there, but all of these major hands of the government shutting down the same time that the government is shutting down and they can't figure out what's going on, y'all, something big is around the corner.
This could be cause to celebrate right here. I saw it reported last night that the president actually started funding the WIC program off of tariff revenue after days and days of the mass media claiming that he was letting children starve due to the government shutdown. Maybe this is how he's going to implement his plan to fund the government with tariff revenue instead of taxes. I know that's wishful thinking, but he's certainly been talking about it, and he doesn't really ever do things the way that you would expect a president to do things. And he always seems to be working about 6 to 12 months faster on any given project than what people are expecting as well. I'm trying to not get my hopes up over this, but I'm certainly going to keep my fingers crossed.
Is your Aura Ring giving away your data and location? Aura has come under hot water after announcing domestic manufacturing to expand their existing partnership with the Department of Defense, in which the firm Palantir is governing the security. This expectedly led to backlash from concerned users wondering whether their data would be given to the military or related parties. In response, Aura CEO Tom Hale released a statement emphasizing that they'll, quote, never share or sell your data without your consent. I looked through Aura's privacy policy and did a little bit of digging to help you understand what they might be doing with your data. The first thing to understand is that all wearables are not covered by HIPAA, so your data privacy is subject to the company's individual policies. Aura, like all other wearable companies, is built on collecting, analyzing, and displaying data, so while they don't necessarily sell data, they do profit from it and share it with their partners, which is completely within regulatory bounds. Aura collects personal data when you register, tag data, and use the ring, and process it themselves and through third parties. They disclose that they collect and process information including but not limited to your IP address, location, activities, heart, sleep, weight, temperature, BMI, and so on. You consent to the collection and use of such information by Aura, as well as the sharing of such information with third-party service providers for purposes of providing, marketing, and improving the services and any other reason described in the privacy policy. So again, this policy would suggest that while your data privacy isn't necessarily sold, you do give authorization for it to be processed, shared, and used by Aura and its partners. Additionally, the Aura platform allows you to share your data with your doctor or other healthcare providers and researchers. If you authorize this, the data recipient becomes the full controller of your personal data and is completely responsible for its use. I don't use any wearables, and your choice to do so is entirely up to you. If you do use Aura Rings, you can do the following things to better protect your privacy and health data. You can disable the location processor using your device's location permission settings. You can also revoke connections in the Aura app to other apps and partners, and you can place your ring on airplane mode to disable all transmission and connections. With all this being said, I want to remind everyone once again that once you give away your data, it is up to the sole discretion of these wearable companies to decide what they want to do with it.
One thing I thought was quite the revelation there, and it's something I wasn't aware of before watching this clip and then going to verify it, is that wearables are not covered by HIPAA laws. With that being the case, that certainly makes RFK Jr.'s statement about his desire to have every U.S. citizen wearing a wearable sound a bit ominous. Although, that should have been obvious. For example, Apple probably would have never invested so much money into all these health tracking features for the Apple Watch if they couldn't collect and then sell that data. But I find it absolutely hilarious that anyone could actually believe that just turning off the permissions in the app would actually stop the data collection. I genuinely think that those functions in the apps are literally just there to give us a false sense of security. Any business that's built off of this type of revenue method, collecting and then selling your data, you shouldn't trust anything they say. If they see nothing ethically murky about that, what makes you think they would have an issue lying to their customers? Think about it like this. If they won't even allow us to take the batteries out of our own phones anymore because they want to track us so bad, would it really make sense that they would then give you the feature to stop being tracked by clicking on a button inside the app?
Okay, folks, I want you to watch a demonstration of nanotech. This is little micro robots, performing tasks. This one is it moving the fat and getting into the blood. As you can see, it's moving it along there, see, and helping. This one's gonna put the circuit and create the light. You see how clever it is? Yeah. Now, there's conspiracy theories out there that this is in the V and building chips in people's bodies. Now, what you'll see is it throws that up there, It's that intelligent that it knew it couldn't get up, so what it does, and you'll see it here, it chucks it up. It throws it up. Watch, look. Throws one over. So the intelligence is obviously coming from us via some Wi-Fi connection or something like that. But I just wanted you to see nanotech and how advanced it really is, folks. That's all. Here it is. Just to give you a little idea of, what's going on in the technology world, if you like, and where we're at. So, nicotine is the killer, It will kill all this. The Australian scientists have already shown that in videos now. So, if you want to get rid of this, I wouldn't say start smoking. I'd just say get some nicotine in you, and happy days. Remove the damage, if it's the case that you feel that, you might have some of this in you. Just saying, Just want you to watch what's going on with the way this nanotech works. Very, very intelligent, folks. Let me know in the comments what you think.
One of the reasons we started talking about boron really was because I had somebody reach out to me and send me a video. It was a whistleblower that had been working on nanotechnology for black op projects that no one even knew about. And this video, when I played it, he said, my team has been working on this nanotechnology, this transhumanism agenda. We've been working on this micro robots that are going to be introduced into the body. And he said, the thing that we're finding that will neutralize a lot of these things is borax. And then all of a sudden the video disappeared. I couldn't find it. I still to this day don't know how that happened. And that was it. And I just kind of, put that on the back burner until COVID happened and I was part of the COVID task force. And then we started really finding out what was in all these bioweapons and these synthetic bioweapons that were happening.
I think this is something we really need to start digging into. I saw a video a couple weeks back that, for obvious reasons, I could not put into a YouTube video, but it was a molecular biologist who was studying blood samples of certain individuals who had introduced a government-mandated substance into their body. And she was showing images she had collected of these people's blood under a microscope. It literally looked like there were computer chips being formed. And I know how that sounds. Like I've gone completely off my rocker. And I don't ever expect anyone to just take my word for anything, but I promise you have seen it. Go look and find that video. Also, you won't be able to find it using Google, but something very interesting is you should go to Google and try to search for it using extremely vague search terms. You know that little paragraph of text that pops up at the top of your Google search results now that's written by their AI system? It always seems to know exactly what you're searching for, no matter how vague the terms, and it will pop up telling you there has never been a case of this documented. That's pretty suspicious in and of itself, but start your search on X. That's where I initially found the video.
In the shadows of American military research, a program exists that sounds like science fiction, but is terrifyingly real. DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, has been quietly developing a technology that could forever change the nature of warfare and potentially threaten global food security. They're weaponizing insects, turning nature's smallest creatures into one of humanity's most dangerous weapons. This is not speculation. This is happening now. In 2016, DARPA launched a program called Insect Allies, with a stated budget of $45 million. The official explanation was benign, using insects to deliver protective genes to crops threatened by disease, drought, or biological attacks. A humanitarian effort to safeguard our food supply. But many scientists and security experts see something far more sinister. Dr. Celia Wernicke, a professor of international law at the University of Freiburg, put it bluntly. The Insect Allies program could be easily perceived as an effort to develop biological agents for hostile purposes. This isn't just one concerned voice. In 2018, over a dozen prominent scientists published a warning in the journal Science that the technology has the potential to be used as a biological weapon. The technology works like this. DARPA scientists genetically modify insects like aphids, whiteflies, and leafhoppers to carry engineered viruses. These viruses are designed to alter the DNA of plants they infect. When released, these insects become living delivery systems, injecting genetic modifications into every plant they touch. Officially, these modifications would protect crops, but the same technology could just as easily be programmed to destroy them. The line between protection and destruction is razor thin, explains Dr. Richard Whitman, a former DARPA consultant who left the agency over ethical concerns. The same mechanism that delivers immunity could deliver toxins. It's just a matter of changing the payload. What makes this technology particularly frightening is its precision. Unlike traditional biological weapons, these insects could target specific crops in specific regions. Imagine a swarm programmed to destroy only wheat in a particular country, leaving their own food supply untouched. It's the perfect, deniable weapon. DARPA claims the insects would be sterile and contain genetic kill switches to prevent uncontrolled spread. But nature finds a way. The history of biological containment is filled with failures. Once released, these modified insects and viruses could spread far beyond their intended targets, creating ecological disasters we cannot predict or control. The program has been shrouded in secrecy. Freedom of Information Act requests about Insect Allies are routinely denied or heavily redacted. What little we know comes from public grant information and the occasional statement from DARPA officials, carefully worded to emphasize humanitarian goals while glossing over military applications. In 2022, Chinese military researchers accused the United States of developing these insects as bioweapons. They claimed DARPA was creating a Pandora's box that could cause a disaster for humanity. While these accusations come from a geopolitical rival, they highlight international concerns about the program's true nature. The technology violates the spirit, if not the letter, of the Biological Weapons Convention, which prohibits developing biological agents for hostile purposes. But DARPA exploits a loophole. They claim they're developing the technology for defensive purposes only. It's a legal fiction, says international law expert Dr. Elena Mendoza. The same technology that can protect can attack. Developing it for one purpose inherently develops it for the other. What's particularly disturbing is how this technology could be deployed without detection. Unlike conventional weapons, there would be no missiles to track, no planes to spot, no soldiers to identify. Just insects, doing what insects naturally do, spreading from plant to plant, country to country. By the time crops begin failing, it would be nearly impossible to prove it wasn't a natural blight. The perfect crime, leaving no fingerprints. DARPA isn't working alone. Universities including Penn State, Ohio State, and the University of Texas have received millions in funding. These respected institutions lend legitimacy to a program that could fundamentally violate international law. The implications extend beyond warfare. Once developed, this technology could be used by terrorist organizations or rogue states. The knowledge once created cannot be uncreated. Dr. Whitman warns, "We're opening Pandora's box. Once these techniques are perfected, they'll eventually escape the lab. It's not a question of if, but when." DARPA's insect program represents a new frontier in biological warfare, one where the weapons are living creatures. The battlefields are farmlands, and the victims could be entire populations facing starvation. The most chilling aspect? This is happening with minimal public awareness or debate. While the world focuses on conventional threats, this silent army is being assembled in laboratories across America. The weaponization of insects isn't coming. It's here. And as with many military technologies, by the time the public fully understands the threat, it may be too late to stop it. The question isn't whether we can create such weapons. We already are. The question is whether we should, and what world we're creating by doing so. The truth is out there, hidden in plain sight. Stay vigilant, question everything, and remember that sometimes the greatest threats come in the smallest packages.
If you go to DARPA's own website, they do have this program listed. They claim that the program was designed to develop a natural and efficient two-step delivery system to transfer modified genes to plants, insect vectors, and the plant viruses they transmit. One of the technical areas of the program is selective gene therapy in mature plants, with the purpose of rapidly modifying plant traits without the need for extensive infrastructure. If they ever figured this out, all it would take would be a single lab leak to start destroying the food supply across the entire earth. And we all know they'll use this as a weapon. Nearly every new invention is looked at as a potential new weapon. Death and destruction for the purposes of control is all these people think about. But the most worrying part about this is when you go to DARPA's actual website and look at the landing page for this program, it states right there on the top right-hand side of the page, this program is now complete. So they've figured it out already. These people are just going to keep playing God, manipulating God's creation until they wipe out all of humanity. What a stupid idea. And I have so little faith in our institutions at this point. I almost wonder if they intentionally designed this to be used as a weapon against our own citizens. But what do y'all think? Is this how everything's going to end? Or do you think that they're genuinely just doing this to try to protect our food supply? I know when I look at the direction things are headed in, it gives me little hope that they're even concerned about our food supply. They want us eating bugs and fake meat already. And now, I guess the bugs they're going to force us to all eat are going to be genetically engineered. You just cannot escape the ignorance of the powers that be in any direction. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to drop your theories and your comments in the comment section down below. But guys and gals, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.